that wee piece that you said there about the strength of a local government and what it is to you. So
I suppose look at the IFA are outside of Westmeath County Council today, and we'll be outside of all the county councils over the next month, because we see the county councils being the first step of government in this country. They're the local government. It's the grassroots of all the parties that are involved in the county councils, and it's the next generation of TDs and future ministers are all going to come up through the county councils. The key issues of why we're here, probably the cap budget is being eroded over the last number of years, and an awful lot of the money that has been siphoned away towards environmental ambition. It's been taken away from food production. And food production, I suppose the cap is set up to subsidise the production of food and therefore the consumption of food. A good healthy cap budget keeps down inflation, because it keeps down food prices, because it keeps down the cost of producing the food. Park that's now been siphoned off towards environmental ambition in the EU. But what we're looking for is to leave that money alone. If you want to pursue environmental change and through farming, you need to provide a separate budget. A separate environmental budget to deliver environmental ends and to keep it away from food production budget, because we need this money to pay to subsidise the production of the food.
Excellent.
And that's the primary reason. We also have local issues, and the likes of ash dieback, which was brought into this country by the state through planting roadside trees a number of years back, is now spread across the country. The farmers are liable for the ash trees that fall along roadsides, and potential injuries and deaths down the track will be laid on top of farmers. We want a council scheme, and that's why we're here again at local issue. We want a council scheme that's going to help tackle the cost of that, because it is very expensive both for flagmen and traffic management on the sides of roads where you're taking down multiple ash trees. This is massive money. It's going to need state help. That's one issue. Water charges. Water charges, the utilities regulator are now looking at the next 4 years of water charges. Irish Water have put in what their request would be the normal, their request for the next 4 years of water charges, which are significantly higher than they are at the minute. And we're again pushing the county councils to use whatever power they have to try and keep that realistic. The main issue, not just the volume charges, but the actual multi-metering, where you have, say, a farm might be fragmented. It could have 5 or 6 different connection points, but we're up to this, they would have paid one standing charge, they now have to pay 5 or 6 standing charges on top of an increase in the volume. Can
I just ask you very quickly, in terms of a local authority, you made a very interesting point that this is the first point of government. Would you find that the local councillors have a great understanding or knowledge of what you're talking about?
They do. An awful lot of them would even be members of the IFA, or would have been in the past, if not in the minute. We do, because they're very much anchored to local political issues and local peoples. They're in the local shops and the local churches, etc. So no, they have a very good understanding of it. They're usually very approachable as well, and easy to get hold of. And now I know people say they're very little power, maybe in legislative sense, but they feed up the grassroots feeling up through the channels in all the political parties. And you can't, all politics is local, as I say, at the end of the day, and you can't underestimate that. Plus it gives us several different I suppose venues and points to keep continuously hammering our points home. Like we're not denying climate change. We are frustrated with the measures that are being engaged to tackle it. We feel that we have an unfair burden, and I suppose that's like the county councils at the minute are doing their biodiversity plans. There's all sorts of conservation plans, etc., etc. And like the vast majority of land is owned by farmers, managed by farmers. The Space for Nature percentages that were used in this year's cap under the eco schemes were an awful lot higher than both ourselves and government would have anticipated. The likes of Cavan is up to 20% of Cavan is Space for Nature. It's probably well over 15% of the landmass of Westmeath is counted as Space for Nature. So farmers are doing a lot of heavy lifting on biodiversity already. Okay, everybody seems to have a new scheme or a new idea, something else that farmers can do to deliver a dividend for the public. Oh, and let's repackage their own money and give it back to them under some other label. And that's okay. Why we're here.
And I have to say as well, I mean, farmers would be the custodians of the rural areas. which are now an asset for tourism, etc. Would you like to see something given towards the value of the rural nature of the landscape and how important it is to Ireland? Would you like farmers to start being also their asset being recognised in terms of how it looks as well as food security?
Oh, well, absolutely. No, absolutely. Like, we have a wonderful countryside. It's there because of farming practices over generations, and you know, it's managed between hedgerow and grassland management, and it's an incredibly good story. We feel we've been kind of demonised a bit on that, so I'd say I agree. There is certainly a role there for farmers, and they're quite proud of their work, and they're proud of their farms and having good, tidy farms and well-managed farms, but they are entitled to also be profitable.
Yeah,
you know, and
I understand.
That has to come as part of it.
What one takeaway would you like to take from a county council, from a county councillor and elected representative here? What could they do for you today, or what could they recognise for you today that you would feel that's an important thing for a local county council elected rep to give you?
An endorsement. I think the association would like that endorsement. We have a resolution on paper there that we're going to present to the council, and we're going to ask them to put it on the agenda of their next monthly meeting and to endorse that.
Okay.
And the endorsement is that basically that the bureaucracy, I suppose there's so many schemes that are so complicated, they're so hard to deliver and manage. The state are way behind in the payments on these because their own departments are struggling with the weight of it. There's no winners in this. It's incredibly complicated. So what we want is the county council's endorsement that we're talking sense. We want things to work. We don't want to break things down. We don't want to run off and start polluting or anything else. We want sustainable